Welcome to today's deep dive. We're looking at a real cornerstone of self-help,
Yeah.
the power of your subconscious mind.
Dr. Joseph Murphy.
Exactly. Published, 1963? A long time ago.
Yeah, but still so relevant. Millions sold.
Right. And it keeps popping up. So our mission today, pull out the big ideas, the stuff that still hits home.
See what it can teach us. Right?
Yeah, about changing things from the inside. So let's get into it. Explore what's going on beneath the surface.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much our inner world, shapes what happens out here. Real potential for transformation there.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Murphy starts with this. Well, this idea of two minds. Simple, but pretty profound.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the conscious mind. That's the bit we know, right? Thinking, planning, analyzing things.
Yeah, everyday mind.
Yeah. And then there's the subconscious. Now, Murphy sees the conscious mind like a gardener choosing seeds. Makes sense.
Okay.
But the subconscious, that's the soil. And here's the kicker. It's fertile soil that'll grow anything. It doesn't judge the seeds.
Ah, I see. So it just accepts whatever the conscious mind plants.
Pretty much. It
Yeah.
takes those thoughts, those beliefs, and just gets to work making them real.
And what's fascinating, really, is that this subconscious soil, it's not just sitting there, it's active. All the time.
294/7.
204/7, nonstop. It's like the background operating system for your life. It's shaping your habits, your health,
Wow.
your relationships, even things you might just call luck or coincidence.
So Murphy's main point is basically change the seeds you're planting.
Exactly. Change the seeds, change the harvest. It's presented almost like a law, like cause and effect.
That's a powerful idea.
Mm-hmm.
So if this subconscious soil grows anything, like you said, without judging, then whatever thoughts we keep feeding it, good or bad, those are going to sprout in our lives eventually.
It's the core argument.
Think about that. If someone's always thinking, maybe unconsciously, oh, I'll never get ahead, I'm not good enough, the subconscious hears that like an instruction. And then it subtly guides things, your behavior, how you see things,
Yeah.
to match that belief.
It finds ways to make it true for you.
But flip that around. If you feed it consistently, thoughts like, I am capable, I am worthy, things work out for me.
Then it starts working to confirm that reality instead, quietly creating the conditions.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. He gives this story in the book, remember? The salesman.
Oh, yeah, the salesman. Great example.
He started repeating, every night, my sales are improving every day. Just kept at it.
With feeling, too.
Right. And within weeks, his sales did improve. Not like magic overnight, but his attitude shifted, his confidence.
His body language, probably. People respond to that.
Exactly. It wasn't just wishing, it was reprogramming his internal state, which then affected his external actions and results.
And it highlights that it isn't about, just plastering over problems with forced positivity. It's not blind optimism.
Yeah.
It's about being deliberate, choosing what thoughts you repeat, what you focus on, especially, as you said, in those quiet moments, like before sleep.
Right, when the conscious mind is winding down.
So that really raises the question, doesn't it? How intentional are we being with those seeds we're planting?
That's the perfect lead-in. How do we impress these ideas effectively? Murphy talks about suggestion, right?
Yes, suggestion is key.
He frames it almost like programming code for the subconscious.
That's a good way to put it.
And this code, this suggestion, it can come from outside. Teachers, parents, what we see in the media.
Absolutely. Things we absorb growing up, often without realizing it.
Or, and this is crucial, it comes from inside. Our own self-talk, our imagination.
That internal dialogue?
Yeah. He gives the example of a kid who's always told, oh, you're so clumsy.
I know people like that.
Right. That external suggestion gets internalized.
Yeah.
And they might grow up just unconsciously fulfilling it. Maybe they are more prone to bumping into things, or they just lack that physical confidence.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy fed by that early suggestion.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, the really good news here is that we're not stuck with old programming.
Exactly. That's the empowering part. We can actively reprogram ourselves. We can write new code.
So how do we do that? What are the tools?
Well, one of Murphy's main techniques is affirmation, repeating a positive statement,
Okay.
but not just rattling it off, repeating it until it starts to feel real, until you embody it.
Like the salesman example.
Precisely. So something like, I am calm, confident, and creative. You say it, maybe visualize it a bit.
And the key is, what, present tense?
Yes, present tense, as if it's already true. And crucially, with genuine feeling. Emotion is the language the subconscious understands best. It's not just the words, the data, it's the feeling behind them.
So you're kind of generating the feeling of the wish fulfilled now.
You got it. It's like you're creating that emotional signature, which the subconscious then works to match in your reality. It's almost like training your nervous system.
Training your nervous system. I like that. And Murphy really zeroes in on when to do this programming, doesn't he?
He does, particularly that time just before falling asleep.
Why then specifically?
Well, the idea is the conscious mind, the analytical, sometimes critical part, is starting to quiet down. It lowers its guard.
The gatekeeper's getting sleepy.
Exactly. So the subconscious becomes more open, more receptive, like that quiet garden at dusk you mentioned earlier, ready for planting.
So he recommends ending the day by what? Gently repeating your goals, your positive beliefs.
Yes, gently impressing them on your mind as you drift off. Not forcing it, just holding the idea, the feeling.
So instead of, replaying worries from the day or stressing about tomorrow,
Right, which is what many of us do.
you consciously choose to plan something different.
Something constructive, like perhaps thinking tomorrow will bring good opportunities and I have the wisdom and calm to meet them well. Something like that.
And doing that consistently.
Yeah.
What's the effect?
Over time, it can subtly but really profoundly shift your default state. It can lower anxiety, improve your mood when you wake up, make you more open to seeing those opportunities. It's not instant magic, but a gradual rewiring.
A gradual rewiring. Okay. Now, it's not just words, is it? He talks a lot about visualization, too.
Oh, absolutely. Visualization is another core technique.
Which is basically seeing it in your mind's eye.
Seeing yourself already having or being what you desire. Creating a mental movie, essentially.
Can you give an example? Like if someone wants better health.
Murphy would suggest vividly picturing yourself full of energy, feeling great, maybe doing activities you currently can't, but with ease and joy, feeling the vitality.
Or for career success.
Imagine the feeling of being in that role, the sense of accomplishment, the gratitude, maybe the conversations you'd be having, making it as real and sensory as possible in your mind.
So it's not just a vague wish, it's a detailed mental experience.
Exactly. And again, the feeling is key. That emotional charge makes the image potent for the subconscious.
Why does the subconscious respond so strongly to images?
Well, Murphy believed, and modern neuroscience kind of backs this up in ways, that the subconscious thinks largely in images and symbols, charged with emotion. It's less literal, more metaphorical, so a vivid mental picture gets its attention.
Like giving it a blueprint.
A blueprint, yeah, or maybe a target to aim for. It's less about forcing an outcome with willpower and more about gently, consistently impressing that desired end state, emotionally charged, onto the subconscious.
That makes sense. It connects to that idea of the RAS, the reticular activating system, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What you focus on, you notice more.
It resonates strongly with that, yes. If your subconscious is primed by these images and feelings of health or success, your conscious mind, your RAS, is more likely to spot things in your environment that align with that. Opportunities, helpful information, things like that.
Okay, so we plant positive seeds with affirmations. We water them with visualization and feeling. But Murphy also says something important about weeds, right?
Yes. You got to do some weeding, too.
It's not just about adding the positive. You have to actively clear out the negative stuff that's already there.
Absolutely crucial, because those hidden negative beliefs, maybe feeling unworthy or scared of success or holding on to old hurts, they can act like roadblocks.
Like an invisible barrier.
Exactly. They can silently sabotage your best efforts because the subconscious is trying to fulfill those deep-seated beliefs too.
So how do we do the weeding? What tools does he offer?
He offers several practical things. One big one is forgiveness.
Forgiving others?
Or
yourself?
both, really.
Yeah.
Letting go of old resentments, grudges, not necessarily for the other person's sake, but to free up your own mental and emotional energy. Grudges are heavy weeds.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Another technique is neutralization. When a negative thought pops up and you consciously calmly say to yourself something like, that thought has no power over me, or cancel.
Just stop it in its tracks.
Yeah, refuse to give it energy, and then immediately follow up with replacement.
Swap it out.
Exactly. Consciously choose a positive, empowering thought instead. The opposite of the negative one, ideally.
So it's like acknowledge the weed, neutralize it, and plant a flower right there instead.
That's a great analogy. And the key, Murphy stresses, is consistency. These aren't one-time fixes. It's like mental hygiene.
Daily practice.
It's about building new mental habits, literally rewiring those pathways over time. Very much like what cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, teaches today with cognitive reframing.
Yeah, I can see the parallels. It really does feel like clearing out mental clutter when you practice that consistently. Okay, so we plant, we visualize, we weed. Now, there's another subtle point he makes, isn't there, about letting it grow.
Yes, that's a really important piece, trusting the process.
After you've planted your seed, your idea, your belief, you have to kind of step back and allow it to germinate.
You do. Murphy warns against digging it up with worry.
Which is so easy to do.
Right.
You plant this idea of success, and then 5 minutes later, you're thinking, is it working?
Right.
Why isn't it working yet? Maybe I did it wrong.
Exactly. That constant second guessing, that anxiety, it's like pouring weed killer on your own seeds.
So what does this allowing mean in practice for you listening?
It means cultivating a sense of faith or trust. Faith that the subconscious, once impressed, is working on it, even if you don't see instant results on the outside.
Murphy often connects this to spiritual faith, right?
He does. His work has a definite spiritual dimension for many. But you can also view it in a secular way. It's about trusting the psychological process you've set in motion.
And acting in line with it.
Yes, that's key too. You act as if your desired state is on its way. You take the inspired actions, but you do it from a place of underlying confidence and trust, not desperate forcing or anxious checking.
That feels like where the integration happens. Aligning your inner work with your outer action.
Precisely.
Now, we should probably acknowledge this all sounds great, potentially life-changing, but Murphy's work isn't without its critics, is it?
No, that's true. It's important to have a balanced view.
Some people argue, quite fairly, that he sometimes oversimplifies really complex things, like deep trauma, or systemic barriers, poverty, discrimination, or serious mental health conditions.
Right. And you can't just affirm your way out of everything. Some issues absolutely require professional help, therapy, medication, or, societal changes.
Definitely. Affirmations alone aren't a magic bullet for deep-seated psychological wounds or external obstacles.
That being said, even many critics would likely agree that there's undeniable value in the core principles.
Like what?
Like the power of becoming aware of your habitual thought patterns, the benefits of practices like gratitude, focused visualization, developing self-compassion. These things do have a real impact on well-being and resilience.
So even if it's not the whole picture.
Exactly. Even if it's not the whole picture, Murphy's work provides a really valuable lens. It helps you notice, maybe for the first time, how often we might be unconsciously talking ourselves out of what we want.
Holding ourselves back with our own thinking.
Yeah, and it gives you practical tools and, perhaps more importantly, a strong invitation to start consciously doing the opposite, to build yourself up from the inside. It offers a powerful framework for self-efficacy.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay.
So let's try and wrap this up. If we had to distill the absolute core takeaways from the power of your subconscious mind for you listening, what would they be? Maybe like 5 key lessons?
Okay, let's try. Number 1, your subconscious mind accepts what your conscious mind repeatedly feeds it and believes. It doesn't argue.
Right. Lesson 1, the subconscious is receptive soil. Lesson 2.
Your dominant thoughts and beliefs directly shape your feelings, which then influence your actions and ultimately your results. Thoughts, feelings, actions, results.
Got it. Thoughts create reality, essentially. Third lesson.
Use tools like affirmation and visualization, especially in that receptive state before sleep, to intentionally plant new positive seeds. Program yourself deliberately.
Okay. Use the tools. Lesson 4.
Don't forget the weeding. Actively clear out negative thought patterns. Use forgiveness, neutralization, and replacement. Clean the soil.
Crucial. Clear the negative. And the 5th lesson.
Trust the process. Once you've planted the seed, allow it to grow. Have faith. Don't constantly dig it up with worry or doubt. Let it happen.
Allow. Don't force. Okay, those 5 feel really central. They sound simple, maybe, but putting them into consistent practice.
That's where the power lies. Consistent application. That's what holds the potential for really profound, lasting change across your life.
Well, that's been our deep dive into Dr. Joseph Murphy's The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. Really fascinating stuff, even all these years later.
Truly timeless ideas.
And for you listening, if you've ever experimented with affirmations or visualization, maybe you have a story about how changing your beliefs changed something for you. We'd genuinely love to hear about it. Drop us a line.
Yeah, share your experiences.
And here's a final thought to leave you with, something to maybe mull over. Just remember, the thoughts you consistently dwell on today, they really are shaping your reality tomorrow.
Powerful reminder.
Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and